We have funerals, cops, and PIs all wrapped up into lies. You like what I did there? And love clearly makes you do crazy things. So let's talk about you.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the You After Show and After Party.
Hey.
Clearly, it's the lights. Set the mood. Yeah, we're talking You, Season 2, Episode 6. Farewell, My Bunny is the title. All right. But yeah, we're talking about so much. Obviously, Episode 6, we have a lot to unfold. So we're talking about the lies that are trending from everyone, not just Joe or Candice this go around. We are talking about the infamous 7 LA totems, which is kind of interesting. But then we learn a lot about James, which is Love's late husband. So we'll talk a lot about that. And then ultimately the end, Love finds out the truth, which is a little twisty. And then, of course, we have our real Stalker story segment, news and gossip, all that fun stuff. But before we dive on in, you have me, Takira Shabrae, the oh-so-observant one. Thank you. And to my left, we have Cody. He is our male representation. Plus, he has been dubbed the Mr. Observant one because he has been like my right-hand man. When I miss something, I'm like, first of all, how'd I miss something? Second of all, you got it. So, hello.
Hello.
Overall thoughts of good old episode 6. What do we think?
It was hectic.
Hectic?
There's always so much going on, but with this one, it was just like, I almost like couldn't keep up. Like, I wasn't sure, there were twists that happened that I like saw happening, and then there were other ones that happened. I was like, but it's happening at the same time. Like, it was tough to keep up.
Yeah.
They were ahead of me for a minute.
Touche. For me, it was a little, there were a lot of things to unfold, but then like you said, some of them were like, oh, well, I mean, I knew that, but I didn't think the writers were going to let us know that. Like, so some things like the truth, for instance, like that's such a big part. And it's like,
it's huge.
It came out and, was a little surprised of the reaction. We'll talk about that. I'm interested to see what our extended panel thinks about that. Live chat, YouTube comments, all that. But it was a little anticlimactic for me.
Mm-hmm. A little bit,
just
right?
Just a tad, yeah. So yeah, let's dive in. It kickstarts with, we see it starts with Hendy's funeral. There are a lot of cops at the funeral. Obviously, we get to see who shows up for the funeral. Mm-hmm. So pretty much everybody from the show, I feel like. Delilah, Love's friends, Love, all the gang. And then obviously good old Joe. He's getting so good at just pretending to have nothing to do with these killings. Yeah, I mean, and then we find out that there's a PI following somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So opening of the show was pretty standard. What'd you think? Anything surprising?
I didn't like read ahead, but I was pleasantly surprised to hear Kathy Griffin's eulogy for Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoyed it. I was like, all right, it's LA. Like, there gotta be other comedians there for the funeral.
Touche, yeah, that's
not everybody
cute.
Not everybody knows his death is not so much of a tragedy.
Yeah. I guess so. I guess it's more so of like celebrating a lot of life. I think we're flashing a couple of pictures if you're joining us on the live chat from the funeral, which was really interesting. Candice being there.
Oh, yeah.
40 knows her obviously as Amy. And this is almost like Candice is so having fun with this because she already feels like Joe was responsible for Hendy. That's kind of what she's already thinking. She's like, oh, murder has a really funny way of following you. So I think that was pretty cool. This is also when there's like a little comedic section of the whole LA totem thing.
Yeah, that really stood out to me as like
The
such a
entire
weird
episode.
theme.
Yeah.
It I just didn't get it. I thought the idea of it was really cool because, like, first of all, I'm a born and raised LA boy.
Oh,
and
okay.
I
didn't know that.
I had never heard of these totems, so I don't know if this is like something that's legitimate or if they just put it in there for the show or if it's just for transplants.
Right.
But
hey, first of all.
no shade. Well, there was a little bit of shade, but I guess I did mean for them. You know what? Shade.
Who cares? Shade. Ultimate shade. Karma. Instant
Right.
karma.
I know.
He drops his pen.
But I'd never heard of them, and then it's so funny because like they tell us them, and we go through the episode seeing them, and I'm like, I was born here, and like I haven't seen like 4 of these things in my life, and it was just so I guess I'm just wondering what the
reason,
the why, if they're real or if it's
What's so funny is I think instantly anybody who lives in LA and watching this show, they're instantly going through their head like, oh, how many have I seen?
Mm-hmm.
Same. I mean, I've seen most of them, but except for, I would say, the Pack of Wolves I have not seen. Everything else, to be honest, I've seen. So the moment that I hear a Pack of Wolves or coyotes or whatever, I'll let you know.
That's the thing is like with the wolves, I'm like, I haven't seen a Pack of Wolves, but I've seen
heard about
plenty of coyotes in my day. Lost a lot of cats.
Oh, interesting.
It's okay. We're over it.
I think same for you. I was like, okay, what's the point? But I feel like it was a funny way of the writers kind of helping Joe accept the fact that, hey, look, I think LA, the ultimate one place that you hated. I mean, the first episode, was like bashing LA left and right. He just did not want to be here. It's almost like no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how all of this turns out, you're gonna be in LA. So I think it was just a really funny, catchy way of
it was like their way
making
of
Joe
giving him a reason to stay after everything that happened.
Cute.
He was like, all right,
I guess
there's a burning palm tree.
I guess
I'll just kick around for a little bit and see how it plays out.
As he's enjoying the other guilty pleasure of LA, frozen yogurt or whatever he was eating. We kind of have a thing for ice cream or frozen yogurt in the city for whatever reason. And donuts. No, he was eating a donut.
That's what it was.
Donut,
he was
definitely.
like, oh, the donuts, so you can't beat the donuts.
Oh, gosh. Donuts, I feel like we're born with them and then we die with them. Donuts are in our caskets.
Oh, yeah.
Well, speaking of caskets, awful transition. We're speaking of a late husband here. We get to meet and learn a little bit more about Love's late husband. So Hester on that a little bit. But before we talk about the late husband, we do want to talk about our love for you guys, our extended panel. And Cody has a very special thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we are very thankful to have you here with us, to be watching, to be listening. Those of you who watch us live, thank you so much. It's nice to know that people are listening and watching us as we go about doing it. Those of you on YouTube, thank you so much. Give us a thumbs up. Give us some comments. Tell us what you think. We love to get involved with that. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, thank you very much. Also give us some praise, some love, because we always say this season. And I'm just so thankful for you guys. I'm thankful to be here. I'm fairly new to the AfterBuzz team, and it means a lot to me to see people watching and listening. It really it's kind of a trip for me, and I'm really excited, and I'm very thankful to have all y'all out there. So thank you very much for making us the ESPN of TV talk.
Oh, the beautiful smile at the end and that 5-star. Yeah, it's beautiful. Obviously iTunes, give us 5 stars. Something about those darn 4 stars and below, they just don't work sometimes. So you kind of always have to default to the 5 stars. But one way to let us know what the heck you want to talk about is dropping us comments. So that's also something pretty big. But yeah, the extended panel, I like to call all of you out there in the virtual world our extended panel, because it helps us, it's confirmation we're not crazy, that we can just talk about TV all damn day, and that's fine. So let's talk about TV. Let's get back into it. Love and James. So James is Love's late husband.
Yes.
And I love this episode because we see so much from him. First off, we learn that he is deaf. And they both communicate via American Sign Language, ASL, I'm not going to lie. The very first thing that I thought of was that sign, that the I love you sign that her and Joe used during the Welkins.
In the previous episode.
I'm like, oh, that's great. That was it was so weird for me that she chose to use that as Joe's connection.
I know. It's so... And I did the same thing when I saw it. I was an instant like, oh, so that's where she got that little maneuver. Which it was really cute, don't get me wrong, but it's like...
It's like calling your current boyfriend your ex's name or something. Like, it's almost like, still having connections.
Yeah, don't, like, use your guys' playful thing as, like, our playful thing. Like, but then again, you know, he's not aware of that.
Touche.
But still, it was definitely like, we caught it, we see it.
Very much so. What did you think about her flashbacks? So we learned that it's the anniversary, so I guess that would be a reason why it's triggering triggering all of her flashbacks. So we see her have a lot of flashbacks. She has items in a locker, kind of like memorabilia, and she's really affected by that. By just this, like we learned a little bit more about him being sick, that he was sick for a long time, or 8 weeks before he let her know, and that she's so desperate to have kids at this moment. So it's just a horrible time.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about her her moment, like remembering her husband and the items in the locker and all of that? What do you take about all this?
I feel for her. It's so sad. I mean, I cannot imagine losing someone who's been in your life for that. Well, I guess I can, but not in that capacity. Like losing your significant other like that is so hard, especially from illness. It's not like, it's something I've experienced. Like, is it harder to lose somebody when you know it's going to happen, or when it's sudden? Like, to watch them, like when someone's sick, is it harder to watch that? Like he is it harder to watch him like be sick and get worse and then lose them? Or for it, there isn't, like, you can't, it's like they're not comparable. It's like they're both so horrible. So but at the same time, going back to the show part of it, it's like he was keeping secrets from her.
Yeah.
And I, like he says, he's like,
how do you feel, how do you think she felt about that? Do you think like she was upset, or just more so hurt? Or because at one point we were like, oh gosh, she killed her husband. I think we said something.
We were saying all sorts of things that we thought somebody killed him, but now we know he's sick. So I mean, it's still possible. Maybe.
Can I like ruin this whole feel bad kind of moment?
Yeah, ruin the whole. Yeah, go ahead, ruin it.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel completely horrible, but it's TV. When I saw those items in the locker. Memorabilia, definitely normal, but because my brain is so stuck on this whole you thing, like the show completely messed me up. I immediately was like, that's like Joe in his infamous box.
Oh my
like,
God.
You're keeping, like, I don't know. That's just where my mind went.
You're totally right. I never even made that connection, that like all the things that in her locker, her little secret locker that we've never seen before, are full of all her late husband's things. It's just like Joe's little secret hidey hole.
Yeah, it was a little... That was like my creepy spin on ruining a great touching moment, probably, but...
But it's not wrong.
You know, I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. Yeah, that's immediately what I thought. I was like, interesting.
I didn't even make that connection. I was just like, oh, she's not telling him that she still has a little torch for her lost husband.
Oh, well, that too.
But
because
no,
it's like right below his.
But it going in the theme of the show, like I think that is way more, because we've been saying since the episode 1 that she is the female version of Joe.
Yeah, very
and
much
so like to have all this stuff in your little secret cubby is right on point with that. So bravo.
Touche. I think the only thing that I had kind of from her late husband and all of that was just obviously how upset it made her, and how like obviously Love struggled with having anxiety and having being super overprotective over her family, over 40, over Joe, probably over her late husband. Like I instantly thought, whenever her and Joe were having a conversation and she was like, I'll never apologize for protecting my family. Ever! It was like the ever was like super aggressive. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I was like, whoa, okay, crazy, okay, psycho. But it just made love look real. Yeah. Anything left on the late husband and kind of her whole dynamic there, how she was affected?
I feel like there's still more for that to unfold. Like I feel like I haven't seen the whole breakdown of how he dies, or I know he's sick, but like I personally have not seen everything yet.
You're still not. So you still think Love is hiding something like about like in regards to the husband?
I mean, I think we see a lot, but I think she is definitely hiding a lot about the situation with her late husband.
Because she doesn't. Clearly, we see, like you said, we see it, but nobody else does. Joe, all of that. Okay, interesting. All right. She may be hiding some lies there. Lies are a trend of this show. Speaking of, I mean, we are at an episode where good old Joe and Candice are going back and forth on still sneaking around a little bit. But what's so funny is they're both planning to break into each other's homes.
Yes, and they both get busted.
Like, not just both that is hilarious because I didn't even think about that they got busted in their own weird ways. Like, first of all, writers, who just randomly Adam to catch.
Oh, right? That was so random, but so funny.
So random, so hilarious. But yeah, so Joe finds out that Candice has a Airbnb. Candice is very diabolical in her way of getting into Joe's apartment. Because at first, when she was sneaking around Joe's apartment and Delilah came up, I was like, oh no, Delilah's gangster. She's not gonna let this happen.
She's gonna be like, get the heck out of here.
Yeah, she was like, no, I don't trust you, I don't like you, get off my property sort of mentality. But she she folds because Amy used freaking Hindi, Delilah's weak spot, to get in.
Right? Oh my gosh. We said she's not a very good liar earlier, but like that was clever. That was smooth. Clever. That was smooth on her part.
Yeah. So the kind of climax of that was she goes back because she leaves the window open. We see her, all of that. But then she goes back and Love finds her breaking in. She catches her.
Right?
I did not know how this was going to play out. Because I love Love, but I swear she's the mirror image of Joe. So I'm just waiting for the moment at this point for her to like flip off on somebody. I was like, oh, here it comes. She's gonna like beat Amy to a bloody crisp. But Amy tells her everything. So Love hired a PI to find her, to follow her or whatever, and then the PI obviously finds out what we end up finding out at the end of the episode was the freaking truth.
Yeah, what's crazy is when Love caught Amy breaking in, in that moment I was like, what is she gonna do? Like, I actually was not expecting her to just tell the truth like that.
Me either.
I really thought she was gonna come up with some BS excuse like, what do you say? Came in through the freaking window. I wasn't expecting her to just be like, this is what happened.
Yeah. Were you surprised of Love's reaction?
Absolutely. I think Love, she like let herself be okay with what happened.
She was super chill.
Yeah, like she was mad. She was mad at first, but not even like, but like the scale that she should have been at, like she was here and she should have been like way up here. Like all she did, she just ended it with him. Like, oh, they broke up. It's like, as far as you know, he is probably potentially a murderer, and you're just gonna like kiss him and be like, this is why I have to leave.
This is so hard.
And then they, it's like it.
And to me, I screamed again, psycho. I was like, hold up, hold the phone. She is way too cool about this. Like, someone just told you that your man is not even really your man. This is his name. He's not hit. Like, I would have probably freaked out. I would have left, like, went off on him. But no, she quietly bakes him
A salty little dessert.
Salty little dessert. And yeah, she took away. She was way too cool about it. And then, like you said, they break up. But were you kind of relieved for Joe that the truth was out there?
I think it helps, for sure, because they kind of say it. It's like they are really good together, and like throughout and like we said, we're Team Joe, so we see him actively trying to be better, even though he's still back there being a little crazy. He's actively trying to be better, and he does be better for Love, and I think she knows that regardless of the lie, which then like he even admits like, yes, my name is Joe. This is what happened. And it was so funny. I was rewatching that scene, and it's like he's telling her the truth, but then he'll lie about something else, and it's like he tells the truth, and it's like this weird, like literal web of lies, and it was like actually really nutty to rewatch because I was like, oh, that was really honest of him, but then he's like, oh, but he basically, but then he's like, oh, but Candice is crazy. Candice is crazy.
They did such a good job making it seem like it was all completely normal. Like I was like, oh, well, when you think about it, they made me question that was just a really bad breakup, like that it wasn't completely off, like it wasn't bigger than. I'm like, oh yeah, she's a little crazy. She followed him. He's trying to get away. It all seemed really normal, but they did a really good job, like you said. Joe did a really good job of just telling the truth, and he's like, oh, I can be this good person.
Right?
I'm a killer, but I'm getting better. I haven't killed anyone in weeks.
Yeah, right.
Like, are you kidding me? I need credit for my progress, damn it. But it was really fun to watch. But anywho, anything else you got? Anything else a live chat has? I don't see anything just yet, but anything else you got from this episode before we get into our special segment and news and all that fun stuff? Anything that stood out? Pretty much the truth was all that was like really stood out to me. I'm like, oh, all
him
right.
bumping in all them totems.
Let's go.
It was interesting. It kind of goes into, I don't know how important this is, but like going to like Love and 40's, like they do come from a very privileged life of the whole
covering up money thing.
Like they make us think that like either Candice has a PI to find Joe or something like that, and then we find out it's Love who's actually
really
like, that's my family's private investigator. Like it
was so normal.
Yeah, it was like, that's just who we use. It's like, and then going into the whole like, I protect my family. Like it was like, whoa, the stakes are real high with you guys.
And we hear a little bit more about the whole like why 40 is obviously kind of on edge. We hear a little bit more about that too, but. And then the whole covering up with money thing, the whole privilege.
Yeah, she's like, I paid her off and now she's gone. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. Like, well, the whole he found her thing. Like 40 found his girlfriend suicide. They called it suicide and all that good stuff and said, whatever. They just like put it under a rug as if it was nothing.
Oh, the au pair.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that little. Which is why small. It was very. They briefly mentioned it in a previous episode.
Yeah, they mentioned it.
And I was like, and I was like, what is an au pair?
Yeah.
But then I heard it. Then I heard it again this episode, and I was like, oh, they're talking about it again. And I don't know if this is still even relevant anymore because we thought that maybe 40 murdered. Love's husband. But then, now I mean, like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that anymore. I thought, because they said that 40 found the au pair's body.
Oh, yeah.
It made me think 40 was also just like a murderer running around killing everybody left and right.
Like another Joe.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm an addict. You guys call me an addict. You might as well call me a killer too. Touche. All right, let's get into our special segment, Real Life Stalker Stories. All right. So this one is about a house cleaner, but she quit after this. So,
okay.
In the mid-'80s, a woman writes about her mom being a cleaner in Australia. So she said she would clean houses in the suburb areas, really rural, kind of like out there. She said one day her mom got a call from a lady who sounded like she was about 60, but she was asking for someone to clean her old farmhouse. So she made a lot of odd demands that, I'll just read it. She made a lot of odd demands that my mom would usually meet clients before taking on new business, but in this case, the lady didn't seem too threatening, and she didn't really want to see my mom. She just said, I'll leave the keys under the front doormat, and you can go in whenever you can. So Mom agreed, mainly because the lady was quite obviously wealthy and was offering Mom a pretty substantial amount of money. So she said, my mom went to the house on Monday morning and she was already felt unnerved or kind of uneasy about the long driveway. The house was essentially in the middle of nowhere. And about an hour after she was cleaning, she hears the back door shut. She says, Mom was told nobody else was at the house, so she immediately felt unsafe. She stood frozen in the kitchen for what felt like 3 to 4 minutes straight. And there was no other car on the property. She wanted to leave immediately, but she had a couple more rooms to do, and she felt as time passed, she heard nothing else. She felt okay. She walked up the hallway and stepped into a bedroom. All over the bed were black and white photos. As my mom got closer, she realized the photos were all of her. Someone had been taking photos of her through windows, doors, sometimes at their house and sometimes at other homes that she had been cleaning, through fences, everything. So someone had been stalking her. She used the house phone to call the police immediately and left. The lady ended up being investigated, and ultimately the police found nothing. They didn't find anything to kind of tie her to it. The lady actually said that the lady's mom broke into her home, but long story short, the police, after a few of investigations and her mom being uneasy, pretty much it kind of seemed like the lady was setting up the mom to be killed.
Yikes.
Hello. Little strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I know that was a little long. I had to set it up there, but how would you feel? You walk into a home, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm a cleaner, I'm going to clean the house, and then there's pictures of you on the bed.
Well, what was crazy is one pictures of me on the bed. Like that's outrageous. Like I'm like, hell no, I got to get out of here. It's time to go home. Right. But then the thing is, like, when you were first reading it, I thought it was like, oh, like somebody was on the property taking pictures through the window, but it says that it was from other places that she had been cleaning. Creepy. So that's like somebody's really following, and then for some to leave the evidence in that house specifically, that's so weird. Not
just that, like I'm going to lead you to the home where I'm about to kill you, and you're just going to clean it beforehand. Rude.
Yeah.
But anyway,
clean up your own murder.
With that, let's get into our news and gossip.
Yes.
TV news.
So our article I have today is from cinemablend.com. And they are giving us 10 great reasons why to watch Netflix's You series. I mean, we have plenty ourselves, but
very
like,
much so.
Some of the ones they give is like the difference between season 1 and 2 is like actually like a difference. Like we have similarities, but it's like there's not like a whole. Okay. It's not like the exact same thing is happening. Like we have a new scene. We have a whole new slew of characters.
Oh yeah, that's good. I have liked that, even though it's been completely confusing.
It has been very confusing. But one thing that they say is there's no other character like Joe, which I think we can all agree that there really is no other character like Joe because he's clearly off, but we, for some reason, love him. And what they say is, according to You showrunner, Joe is not a sociopath. I'm sure how many of them there are actually on television. However, Joe is a unique and scary character that is multidimensional and complex. There's a lot to contemplate, and season 2 never settles for being a popcorn binge watch, which is, I think, pretty accurate because it keeps me on the edge of my seat. And even having binge season 1 only a week or so before starting this panel, I want to keep watching, and I do see that there is a difference. It's not like the same. It's not repetitive. Like it's not. One of the other reasons is they're saying it's like. Love is not like Beck 2.0.
She's completely different.
And so like, though there is that still similar stalkery thing happening season to season, they are switching it up at least enough to keep us interested, which I agree with.
I think that's something that's so like kind of another little piece of news and like gossip and all that. I think that's what so many people on Twitter say. They're like, you know, this one's so different. It's not just he's in love and he's killing everyone around them because they're mean to him. Like, it's so different. They switched it up so much, and it makes you think that it's not just him involved. So, yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for the news and gossip there. We're episode 6. We have 4 more?
Yeah.
10? Oh, it's getting so good. But every single time that we tape our after show, we do ask you, join us in the live chat, leave your comments on YouTube after. Let us know what you want to talk about, what stood out to you. Yeah, you're our extended panel, so we love to continue the conversation with you. But to continue the conversation, Mr. Cody, Mr. Observant One, the other Observant One. To continue the conversation, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Cody Epp and on Twitter at Cody Epp.
Yeah. And you can find me, Takira Shabrae, Mrs. Observant One, on Twitter and Instagram at Takira_Shabrae. And again, catch us in the next episode of our after show and our after party. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.